Welcome to the Locks DFS Podcast, everybody. Back to recap week 2 of the NFL and talk about week 3 of the NFL a little bit because we've got the DraftKings prices up in front of us. But before we get into all of that, just want to say that Sunday night game was like really gross, really awful.
Yeah, it was a horrible football game.
I'm very surprised Jeff Swaim got blanks. Honestly, I'll stand by the call. It makes sense. I mean, he played 91% of the snaps last week. He got, 4 targets? I know it's not the best, but he's definitely way too cheap facing the Giants, who are the worst team in the league, versus tight ends. Cowboys seem to, not do their research. I mean, they've won anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter for them.
Rico Gathers got 2 tight ends, though. Or 2 tight ends. Got 2 targets, though. 2 targets.
2 targets and an end zone target, man. I told you. It was Rico Gathers. Why else would he be activated if they didn't have a couple plays drawn up for him? The first one wasn't really drawn up for him. But the second one, he should have had a touchdown.
Mm-hmm. Rico Gathers Cowboys do a lot of things that no one knows why they do it. So,
I mean, I could see Rico Gathers being in the end zone personnel. He's 6'8", went to Baylor. He played basketball.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Addie's mentions it every time.
I'll just say he was a basketball guy. So
the next is Jimmy Graham. Did you know he played basketball?
Yeah, did you know Jimmy Graham played basketball, though?
Yeah, Jimmy Graham did.
How long did they talk about that when he played? It was like
Antonio Gates. Antonio Gates before that was a baller. Who else? Zach Ertz, someone. Travis Kelce, someone like that? Nah, none of them.
Austin Hooper.
Austin, he's just a hooper in general. All right.
Yeah, I mean that was that Sunday night game, but Addy, I don't know.
I was cool. My team was fine. I played Zeke in the captain spot. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure showdowns out. I feel like the best move for showdowns, at least for the captain spot, is to play the high scoring guy. But then some showdowns that I play, I feel like the move is isn't to play the highest. It's to get the highest. And obviously this is a move. It's to get the highest points per dollar guy. Well, I think, but if you're getting a 2K guy who goes 5x and gets you 10 points, is that really even an edge? If he's the highest points per dollar guy, probably not.
All right. I mean, it's really just like a game by game
It is a game-by-game thing, but I feel like, I don't know. I'm starting to go – and most people play the best play in the captain spot, so I think there's an edge to just blocking that.
Yeah, it definitely merits to blocking. I agree with that fully.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense as the move to put the highest – who you think is going to be the highest scoring guy, whether it's going to be a position or a quarterback. I just think definitely with the blocking, but also just with you get the safety of having whatever their floor is times 2. I mean, it just gives you – a high floor, I guess, exactly. In a lot of cases. But obviously there's exceptions to every rule. And DFS, I mean, the longer you play DFS, you start to realize that there's really never any steadfast rule. I mean, this week, for example, Taylor ended up playing Ben Roethlisberger on FanDuel, and it's I mean, that's the last thing that we do is pay up for quarterback. But this week, it was a week to pay up for Ben Roethlisberger. He was in a great spot. So, and he was priced well enough where you could fit him in. So, you played Ben Roethlisberger. But, I mean, most weeks, Taylor's not going to be paying up for a quarterback. I think he could say that himself. Very often we're going to have a cheap guy in there. So that just is kind of the way optimal builds seem to work out. But that kind of gives us a little bit into this week, I guess. Blocks. Taylor, you just want to give the full breakdown? I feel like you can run it down better than me. I mean, I know it, but I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, I think I know as well. So we took down both main slates. DK was kind of pushing it at the end, but managed to squeeze that one out because we were well into cash and we had 2 players left going into the afternoon games with Kittle and Yeldon. And then, I don't know, Kittle had a lot of missed opportunities. I feel like he was open, had some opportunities to get some relatively big plays, maybe touchdowns. Didn't really come into fruition, but Yeldon did well when he got the ball, but I thought he would have more of a workload than he actually did. Grant spelled him quite a bit during the game. It was an average outing. It was whatever, but managed to have Todd Gurley on FanDuel over Kamara, which is was kind of contrarian, which I was kind of surprised. And he scored 3 touchdowns, of course, had a really good game. Actually, the game early with a injury, but
You guys want to talk about the Kamara fade a little bit?
I mean, last week it was like the most nut outcome, and for Kamara, because they were behind, and they just continue to check down to him, and he got 3 touchdowns, which is unlikely for him to get 3 touchdowns on his limited touches, because I think he only had 17 touches. He had 3 touchdowns. That's unlikely to happen. And I knew Todd Gurley would have a way bigger workload and way more likely to get touchdowns, and it happened with him getting 3 and 3 2-point conversions, I think, or 2 2-point conversions.
Yeah.
Malcolm Brown got the 3rd one. But yeah, great to see our plays coming through.
Most definitely, yeah. For me, I was just I actually played Gurley over on my DK team. I played Gurley just because I felt as though with the wide receiver value opening up, I really liked the Nunwa and Galladay they opened up. I liked the tight end value. I liked Kittle. I liked Njoku. I actually went with a double tight end stack, which I don't really do it too often, but it worked out pretty. I mean, it didn't really I cashed, 144, but like Njoku, Kittle, they weren't great. I feel like the opportunity was there for both of them, definitely, and I would play him again. Kittle was massive chalk. He was like 73% in double ups on DK. That had McCaffrey, who had 14 catches. He really bailed me out.
How many targets did he have?
Crazy, man. I think he had like 14. I think he caught every target. Yeah, he caught everything that was thrown his way. And honestly, he could have easily had 20 catches. Cam was staring at his way so many times that the commentators are talking about how he could keep going there, but it's getting too predictable. Like he's getting too comfortable with it because it's so easy. So that's like part of that.
Falcons, and we knew this.
Yeah, part of that is because the Falcons funnel pass attempts to the running back spot, and they're horrible at defending pass catching running backs, which we know. But another part of it is just Christian McCaffrey's role without Greg Olsen is so crazy. That's why I had to play him. I just didn't want to miss that. I was well aware of James Conner being massive chalk. I thought I had enough exposure with Antonio Brown. Obviously, I got lucky that James Conner didn't go crazy because the potential was there. But I just didn't want to miss the McCaffrey game. I didn't want to miss that game without Greg Olsen versus Atlanta. It's just too good of a spot.
I would really like to know how many running backs led their team in receptions today. Because I know Chris Thompson had to do it with 14.
Quite a bit.
McCaffrey had to do it with 14. I know that Barkley did it, definitely.
With 14, yeah. He had 14 catches.
So,
a lot of checkdowns.
Lots of checkdowns right now, and it seems like a lot of times just early in play counts. That's like quarterbacks look downfield for half a second, and they're just like, all right, running back. Like it's pretty much how it's going right now.
Get those PPR points on DK. That's what it comes down to. Getting a whole point per reception is such an edge.
I bet James White might have led the team. Yep, he did. He had 7.
Yeah,
Wow.
And if you saw the main team I sent out for the main slate team I sent out for DraftKings, it was just volume. Like all the running backs that we had high target shares for their team, even at running back position. And even all of our wide receivers, Antonio Brown, Quincy Enunwa, and Jarvis Landry, big target shares in the respective offenses.
Yeah, for sure. DFS. Go ahead.
I was gonna say the Jarvis Landry thing. I battled with it like all week. It was either Jarvis Landry or Sanders. I landed on Landry. Sanders did a little bit better than him. And then if you watch the live stream I did today, I literally talked about Nelson Aguilar the whole time. I really wanted to play him, and in hindsight, I probably should have. And I think he had like 8 for 90 and a touchdown, something like that. So a lot better than Jarvis Landry, but we still cashed.
I think if we with the TJ Yeldon thing, that was a little bit frustrating to watch. I know at the beginning of that game, Corey Grant just came in and pretty much was even an early down back, which was surprising to see. Even on downs that they weren't planning on passing, he was in early on. towards the middle and towards the end, it seemed that they were going just a little heavier with Yeldon, even on passing down sometimes. But Grant ended up with 7 targets. So, Yeldon was also involved in the passing game, but that took a big share of his passing game away, and that really hurt him. Ended up hurting us on DraftKings where Taylor had him. He wasn't horrible still, but he didn't do nearly what he was expected to do. A very underwhelming performance, and again, mostly because he lost. Giving up 4 carries to Corey Grant isn't a big deal, but giving up 7 targets, 6 receptions, definitely hurt. He wasn't really used on third downs at all.
And that was the thing, because even last week, when Fournette went down early, Yeldon had 7 targets. So I was expecting the same, if not more, actually, because I thought it would be a little bit more high scoring with the Patriots, and that it would be back and forth. But the Jaguars just dusted them.
What did you guys think about that game, Daddy? Did you watch that game at all?
The Jags-Pats game?
Yeah.
I wasn't watching it too much. I was watching the Broncos game mainly.
Yeah. It just seemed like the Jaguars outsmarted the Patriots for most of the day. It was kind of surprising to see. Like the Jaguars offensive play calling was really, really sharp, and
especially down the stretch. It was really impressive to watch.
They were like toying with the Patriots defense almost.
Yeah, the last 5 or 6 minutes, usually a team would just run it 3 times and punt it back, just to waste as much time as they can. But they were taking shots downfield, highly efficient passes. When it's supposed to be a run, and the Patriots are lining up like that. Getting one-on-one coverage on the outside, letting Keelan Cole get loose, converting for third downs and second downs, and continuing the drive. And I think they kept it the last 5 or 6 minutes. Very, very impressive.
We cut off Addy talking about the Broncos because they were pretty impressive too.
No, I just wanted to say I love it when coaches do smart things.
Oh yeah, it's like there's such a thing happening. I feel like
so it's happening in the NFL. Coaches are doing better, man.
It's happening.
Commentators don't get it still. These commentators are behind some of them, man. Like I was listening.
These guys are millionaires.
I was watching the Jets game. Let me get it right. It was the Miami Jets game today, and it was going into halftime, and the Jets were down 20-0. And they were getting the ball back with 40 seconds till half. They had the ball like the 30, like their own 30. There was 40 seconds till halftime, and they had 2 timeouts. And when one commentator's like, he asked the other guy, like, what do you think they should do? And the guy just seemed so confident in the fact that he was like, oh, they'll do the smart thing and run the ball here, and then just figure out a game plan in the locker room. And then he was so baffled when the Jets came out and were just throwing the ball with Darnold. 40 seconds and 2 timeouts, like that's like a lot of time, a ton of time.
Well, Doug Peterson would be ashamed if you were running the ball in that situation.
Could you imagine supporting a team that takes a kneel there and just goes to halftime down 20-0? You can't even support that. What's happening? I would be so baffled. Have these people never played a video game, Madden, in their life?
We were talking about this the other day. You play Madden one time and you realize I don't know, these play callers are just so
point expectancy work.
Yeah, the efficiency of going for it on 4th and 1 from damn near anywhere. How much more efficient passing is. It's like these guys just don't. It's funny.
What's really weird about the passing thing to me is that, especially, I thought about this actually. This hit me when I was watching the Broncos last drive. And you saw how well that engine could run, and how well when they opened it up, they could run.
Yeah.
And I just thought, why aren't they opening up like this more often? And it really is. I mean, I feel like that game they really didn't take advantage of the full field in that game, and they were kind of up the middle. But then once they started going to the outside, letting Case Keenum kind of go a little bit, I wanted to say one more thing about the announcers thing, because how that Giants game ended was a little bit just interesting too, because I think it was Chris Collinsworth was on the broadcast talking about how which they ended up doing. They were like, oh no, they should just take the field goal and get the onside kick and then try to score another touchdown on a Hail Mary, which would be from the 50-yard line. And they were down 10 points, so they needed 2 scores for sure. But they were already on the 25-yard line here, so why wouldn't they try to score from the 25-yard line instead of from the 50-yard line when they recovered the onside kick? It didn't make any sense. And so
it was a first down and they had a timeout. You take one shot to the end zone. You either get it or you try to draw you either get it and then go for the onside kick and then have a timeout left to go up the middle and try to get into field goal range.
Exactly.
Or throw it to the end zone and try to draw a pass interference, and then that makes it a lot easier to score a touchdown. I don't know, these commentators, coaches.
There was
the coaches took the field goal. The coaches took the field goal. So
yeah,
which was smart.
That was kind of. I mean, there was no effort. I didn't see really much effort on that drive as just
not at all.
It seemed like they were playing for the field goal, and then after the Odell catch, they realized, oh, maybe we should have just been playing for a touchdown this whole time.
It really was like that.
And after the Odell catch, then they took I think they took another shot, or did they bring out the field goal after that? I don't remember what they did.
They took one shot.
They took one shot. They were like, oh, maybe we have a chance here, you know? And, oh yeah, they took like 7 seconds off the clock and threw it back into the corner. But yeah, man, it's just weird. It just seems like there's such an edge to having a quality sound coach in football. Such an edge. Just a guy who makes the right call, despite it being the unpopular one. It's just like make the right call, mathematically right call.
I know we're jumping all over the NFL, and we're not totally just focusing on fantasy, so I don't know if you guys like or dislike this whole thing that we're doing here, but I wanted to mention one more thing, not talking about fantasy. Vontae Davis just left halftime. He's just like, this team sucks. My body's old and tired. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm leaving. In the middle of the game.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Who can blame him, man? It sounds like he just had an epiphany.
It really did sound like that.
It sounded like.
I mean, I don't think it was. I think people are making it out to be it was because his team was so bad, but he was talking about how it was his body, and he's like he played 1.5 games this year, and he gave up 3 touchdowns, and somehow he got $5 million this year, which no one will ever know how. Definitely way past his prime.
But do we think Vontae Davis, hypothetically, if the Bills were 1-0 and they were in a competitive second game, he's not retiring at half, right?
It wasn't even that far.
He's not having that epiphany, right?
What was the score of that game?
It was 28-6 at half.
No, it was pretty bad. They were getting beat. Yeah,
the Chargers were running. I think Gordon scored. He scored all 3 in the first half.
3 times.
He might have had all 3 in the first half. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, the Bills are the worst team in the NFL, and they're by far the worst. But I was just thinking about this also. Who is the second worst? Because I think the Giants can make a case.
They have too much talent. I think
the offense has too much talent.
The Cardinals are pretty bad.
I might want to say like the Lions.
Yeah, the Cardinals didn't get past half field till the end of the game on garbage time.
Half field.
50-yard line, the whole game. The
50-yard line. Someone could muff a punt and you could end up at the 30. You know, if you just, you know.
The Rams are dominant though. The Rams are dominant, but still, man.
I mean,
no, for sure.
50-yard line. It was pitiful to watch. It was like Todd Gurley. Todd Gurley was like looking for a reason to get injured, just so he could sit out. After he scored the third touchdown, he was like, it's crazy.
He had cramps, right? That's why he left. It was cramp. That's what he said.
He was like, nothing hurts. I really got to – He's like, I feel great. I feel like I could run for 2 more, but this is enough. Weird.
Fantasy-wise, anything else that we want to get into? I mean, we played other slates besides those, the afternoon and the early-only slates that we play every week. Early-only, Taylor. I mean, again, Taylor.
Yeah, I think we bubbled FanDuel. I actually just let you guys know, like I play pretty much just all head-to-heads, and I would recommend that for people trying to play long-term. I play strictly. I'll play a couple of tournaments, and then I'll play like all head-to-heads and 3-mans just to get more variance because I'm here to play for like a long time. And even if you have really big nights, when you play a bunch of 3-mans, you can profit a lot doing that. Or if you you have an off night, you can still make some of your money back. So I actually made money back on the early slate a little bit, and then we crushed the DK early because, like Addy was saying, we really like Christian McCaffrey. I threw him in on the early only. I didn't want to miss out on that. I didn't have him on the main. He did really well, so we won that. And how did the afternoon go? Did we lose both?
Afternoon? No. Remember afternoon? No, I bubbled on afternoon. You were above me. Remember?
Wait, on DK?
Yeah, on DK. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we won DK.
Yep.
Yeah,
Because that was
won
Galladay.
DK.
Kenny Galladay had the touchdown.
Okay, yes. We won DK, and then we bubbled FanDuel,
Yeah. Yep.
where I made my money back. So
Uh,
overall, a relatively good day.
solid day, especially because usually tend to go heavier on the main a little bit just because you're dealing with smaller slates when you go with, especially on those afternoon slates when it's a 4-game. So
Yeah, and if I recommend like contest selection,
I was just gonna talk about mine, but you can go.
yeah, just especially for DK, when you're playing NFL, there's so many people playing, and like it's the only sport to really take advantage of this. I just like do $51 entries, $52 head-to-heads, or 53 mans, $55, and then like some $10 head-to-heads, and then a bunch of 3-mans, and make sure to limit to 1. And then you want to do this like a couple days before. That's like the optimal thing to do. But even if they don't all get picked up, they'll get randomly selected with a bunch of other people playing those lower stakes, and it's really easy to take advantage of. Because a lot of the times you'll get badgeless people or no-name people that you don't really know. You don't know their name in the lobby, so they're obviously not they're not a shark that you're facing. And if you do get matched with a shark, it's for a low-dollar single head-to-head, so it's not that big of a deal.
I will also say sharks aren't sitting in the lobby. As long as you have a full
sure.
badge, and I will say if you are posting head-to-heads on DK, you should have a full badge because you're going to get scooped by sharks if you don't. But if you do have a full badge, you're not going to get scooped by sharks. So,
I mean, it could be advantageous if you don't have a badge and then you're using our lineups or something. I mean, you still don't have – I guess so, but you could get scooped by lesser people.
I mean, it's just advantageous in general to use our lineups. Just in general.
Wait, just before that,
Yeah.
Addy also won MLB today. I mean, I know that will go like –
Yeah.
I don't know. We did win.
Yeah, yep. Cast MLB. It was good, man. We have Verlander. Pavetta was on one. He kind of gave it up, but he got his strikeouts before they really gave the game up. We got McCutchen home run on FanDuel. We got Stanton did his thing, and then Verlander went crazy. So it was a pretty comfortable cast for MLB. Yeah, I think that's like 4 straight days. Or no, we lost. Did we lose?
I think we lost the day before.
It was 3 straight days and then a loss.
Yeah,
and then
that's
starting a new streak today. So
yeah, and Addy's fully taken over MLB. I'm trying to focus more on NFL, and we're trying to bring out as much free content as we can. So we're gonna be posting on YouTube a lot more, and so we're going to have these podcasts posted on iTunes, and where else are they posted?
They're posted on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, etc.
Yeah,
website.
now we're gonna
Post
post them on YouTube, and you can see our faces on there now. So on Monday and Friday, we'll have that on there, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be posting a quarterback rankings, running back rankings, and then wide receiver, tight end rankings for DFS. And then Saturday, I think Addy, I can't confirm this. We've been talking about Addy may or may not be posting like a GPP NFL video.
for sure, yeah. I mean, like I could probably do that.
We'll see. No problem.
Sounds like something. That's how like I tend to play more GBP. Like you guys know me, so it kind of fits. Kind of feel like coming to lock. I feel like I always have these like random off the board plays that, like I feel like I could throw into a video on Saturday for sure.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of great takes, like contrarian picks or takes that other people really aren't on. But if you're trying
some David Njoku, 4 receptions for 20 yards.
Yeah, and I mean, Addy's definitely Addy has the biggest takedowns of us 3. So
I just like
more of a GPP kind of player.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just feel like I like taking risks. It's like I love taking risks, and I do it with my lineups, and I do it with unfortunately I do it a lot with my contest selection, which is what I don't recommend to people. I recommend being smart with your like listen to Taylor, what he's saying, going heavy with head-to-heads, 3-mans. 3-mans I feel like are, when you play double up, you're really playing like it's like a top 44, top 45% cash. I mean, you double your money, top 44%, or you can triple your money, top 33%. So I feel like 3-mans are a good way to build your bankroll on those really good days, And you can still salvage 3-mans even on like so-and-so days. You can still salvage some 3-mans.
Really, you could have like a bad lineup one day and then just get lucky with the contestants that are in your 3-mans and take those down. Because I know we've all had days like that where we've probably lost double ups, but we won some of our 3-mans, and so we ended up profiting on the day. So that's
I mean, you can talk about contest selection forever. I feel like, honestly, I was going to mention a few things, but the 3-mans I've noticed, and I was just thinking about this today, and I think this, especially when I'm picking up 3-mans in soccer, which I try to get in a lot of them. Once you get over $20, usually running into a lot more sharks. I try to if you're looking for action that's a little bit softer for 3-mans, I would recommend staying under there pretty much for any sport. If you're just trying and then picking up a lot, Addy prefers to pick up big ones like 109, 270s, that sort of thing. And just play one. Yeah. Well, I'm just saying.
I don't know why.
That's just how he plays. I mean,
I think it's just how you can honestly view this as investing. You can really view this as like investing in stocks. Like there's some people just play differently, like some people diversify their portfolio with all sorts of investments. Some people just go all in with one thing, like if you look at like Empire Maker's Twitter and stuff, he'd probably be a guy that kind of just goes all in, kind of guy. He, $10,600 3-mans, 5 of them. That's your slate, Like if you beat the same guys, you beat the same guys. So I've had success doing that. I've had success diversifying as well with head-to-heads. I kind of split it up depending on the slate. You'll see me doing.
I was going to say that I was going to try to give a general percentage of how I split up my slate. And I say typically now I'd probably tend to do 20% tournament, 20% in 3-mans, and then 30% head-to-heads and 30% in double-ups or 50-50s either. But that 60% and loaning, that 80% that's not tournaments is the biggest. That could always change. It depends on the slate. It depends on if I feel like I have a higher upside team, I might go a little bit higher 3-mans, it just depends. It really does. So it's not the same every day, but I think that's a basic baseline I use. I definitely have lately been trying to stick with the same amount of 50-50s / double ups and same amount of head-to-heads. So I try to stick those about the same. So anyway, we talked about contest selection a lot, and that was not even on the schedule. So
it's important, man, because we get so many questions about it. It's just like it's so many questions about it, so it's good to address it.
I would say if you're playing our stuff in soccer, I think it's totally fine to just post head-to-heads. I mean, the only thing that sucks is you don't know who you're getting, so maybe not picking them up. But yeah, I think if you're posting them, I get a lot of no badge people picking up my head-to-heads in soccer, especially on showdowns. There's a lot of NFL money in soccer right now, and it's been really nice in terms of head-to-head action. I've been making a lot of money playing head-to-heads in soccer on mains and in showdowns. So I think it's a really good way for soccer, especially because there's not a lot of action in general in soccer. So anyway, do you guys want to go ahead and just move on to week 3 then? Talk about it on DraftKings a little bit, see what you guys see?
Just to mention, UCL starts this Tuesday. There's
Champions
a $50,000.
We keep calling it UCL because that's what it's abbreviated on DraftKings, but
it's just Champions League.
It's just Champions League. Yeah, Champions League. It's going to be awesome. I'm very excited.
But yeah, it's this Tuesday. $50,000 is the biggest tournament, and going to be a lot of NFL money that Christian just alluded to.
All these guys that you guys remember from the World Cup are going to be playing all through the Champions League.
Yeah, this is like World Cup.
Yeah, it's like
in my eyes. I have nothing to do with soccer, but I envision this as World Cup.
There's also a real nice 180 tournament for this UCL slate on
180, 103 men.
Scorpion Kick 16.7K.
I'm gonna be in that.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice tournament that they're doing for this week for this first slate of games, which I believe the Tottenham and PSG game is on this slate or something. Or is it hold on. Oh, PSG Liverpool, not Tottenham. I mix up the groups. But yeah, anyway, that's soccer. Yeah, Champions League is this week, and that'll be fun.
Let's get into the
let's just start with quarterbacks. I said let's just go from the top. Mahomes is the second prize quarterback this week.
Week 3. Week 3 it is.
Here. Yeah, we're here.
Let's do it.
I mean, Locks optimal lineups going into this week. Do you want to just recite the record? Which site did we win on week 1? We won FanDuel. So
we crushed FanDuel week 1. And we lost DK week 1.
On mains, we're 2-0 on FanDuel and 1-1 on DK going to week 3.
Boom.
So FanDuel, we're profiting because all you got to do is win 2 out of 3. And we've already done that for sure coming to this week. So just, So DK,
FanDuel's entirely too easy, and
it is too easy. I've been thinking that for
I was
soccer.
talking about this on the live stream. We had the same exact team on FanDuel as we did on DK, but instead of having Yeldon on DK, we had Gurley on FanDuel. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Oh, and we had an upgrade in pricing with Roethlisberger over Mahomes. They scored about the same. So
FanDuel's so soft right now. FanDuel's so soft, and I wonder if it will change as the season goes on. Or Taylor. I didn't play DFS very much in the NFL, but was like it soft last year on FanDuel like this, or is it gonna? You think probably get adjusted?
It's just FanDuel in general. They're very soft, and I don't know. I feel like a lot of fish play there.
They're soft in general. I was looking at their lot, man. FanDuel. We could talk about it forever. All right, football. Rogers at the top, Mahomes at the top. I was just gonna say the price Mahomes way up, but pretty valid. This dude's.
Oh no, definitely very valid. I before we hopped on the podcast, I brought up DK and I saw that it was the Chiefs versus Niners.
Mm-hmm.
That just screams game stack. It's pretty much the same situation with the Pittsburgh game. I don't know if Goodwin will be back, but definitely like this game. I'm probably going to go back to the likes of Kittle, just because their offense is pretty saturated right now.
He's 4.5K on DraftKings.
Yeah.
He's the sixth highest priced tight end.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
That kind of changes the picture a little bit for sure. The Chiefs are, want to say they're 5-point dogs, even though they're Arrowhead, which is a little interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if they have the next week's slate. No, they don't. They don't have.
What are you looking for?
I was just looking for the lines on the game.
There's not point totals, but I just saw that our old associate Zam. He could deleted the tweet, but he had quote tweeted the odds for next week, but it's gone now.
Damn.
Never mind.
Oh well, I assume it's going to be a high scoring game. That I bet the over under is going to be at like 52 plus, somewhere around there. Probably going to rise. Going to be a lot of hype behind this game. I like Mahomes. I like Garoppolo, but they're very expensive. You're definitely paying for it. And like we said, unless the value opens up, likely not going to go there. Probably will pay down.
I just saw something.
I just saw there's also Atlanta versus the Saints. And Matt Ryan's only 5'7". I don't know. I'm just looking at this the first look, so I don't know. You see anything, Eddie?
Yeah. I was going to touch on Matt Ryan being 5'7". I like the fact that he's at home. I think that game could easily shoot out. I think the other side of that with Kamara is interesting, so I think getting that little back and forth action is cool. I like Garoppolo. I like the other side of that game that Taylor talked about. Just looking ahead, I like Kansas City to be leading that game. I like Garoppolo to be trailing. San Francisco plays at one of the fastest paces. They're just a fun team to have exposure to. So I think Garoppolo stacking them up with honestly, you may be able to once I can check the prices on these guys, you could get like a cheap Goodwin or Garcon play or something. Or did Goodwin get injured? Yeah,
Goodwin's hurt.
He's hurt. So if he's still out, maybe a cheap Dante Pettis or Pierre Garcon play would be fire in this matchup.
Garcon's priced at a 5.3.
That's fine. I don't know what was his stats this game. I was watching the game. It felt like he was getting a fair share.
He started opening. He was 4 catches on 4 targets, but he really started opening up once Darius Slay got hurt. It looked like Slay was kind of on him most of the game. So.
Right, and I don't think Pierre Garcon runs too many routes out of the slot, and the Chiefs' best cornerback is Kendall Fuller in the slot. Although Steve Nelson did a good job just for the eye test.
Nelson got
hurt. Eye test. Did he come back? He got hurt. He came back.
I'm not sure if he did come back.
I think he might have came back. Yeah, and he was doing a good job on AB, and I think AB might have been gimpy, and I think he also had safety help over the top.
It definitely looked like AB got hurt.
Yeah, but for whatever it's worth. Steve Nelson looked like he was a serviceable cornerback today, at least. But that was just with the eye test. I mean, I didn't really look into it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but regardless, I still like – there's a lot of spots
Real quick before we move on, I guess just so we can try to go position by position quarterback. Anything else that stands out here?
Yeah, Nick Foles.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Honestly,
5K. I was talking about it on the stream this morning. My favorite combo. I didn't end up playing it, but was Foles and Aguilar. Foles threw 48 times today. He threw 34 times the game before. I feel like they're at home. They're probably gonna play with a lead, but someone I like. I guess we'll talk about it later. But I really like Aguilar again.
If I don't think that Bortles is an awful play if he's going to keep throwing this much with Fournette out. I mean, they just threw the ball all day today.
Have you seen their stats without Fournette? Fournette, in the 4 games that he's missed, the offense has averaged 31.5 points per game. And now they're facing Tennessee. So if Fournette's out again and Yeldon's starting, it could be a big game for Bortles.
Definitely a lot of options. I really think that probably you're going to not really look at any quarterbacks above who was one of the first ones you guys mentioned? It's Matt Ryan at 5'7". I would say probably kind of starts there if you're looking.
You're either going to be in that range or you're going to pay up for Mahomes, I think.
Yeah. Go ahead. Oh, yeah.
No, I can see that. There's some interesting options really, like, way down here. I mean, like, Ryan Tannehill's kind of interesting at 5'3" versus Oakland. He never really has much volume on his side. He never throws the ball, like, more than 30 times. But if Miami catches himself trailing and he airs it out, he may get Devontae Parker back this week as well, so that'll help his prospects. He gives you a little bit of rushing upside. Dak Prescott sitting at 5.1K.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, that's just like a talented if he's still talented, which I do think he is.
I thought what was interesting about Dak today is that he rushed for 40 yards. He was running the read option today. They ran 5 or 6 or 7 or something. I might even be underestimating how many they ran. But they're running he's running the option. So
no, that's a good take. I like
definitely
that.
Going to be very low owned. Just because I feel like people still have the stigma and think that Seattle still has a good defense. And in all reality, they probably have like a bottom 5 defense in the league. Definitely somewhere you want to target. We targeted them week 1 with the Broncos. Totally decimated them. I can get behind Dak to an extent just because of the price, but I think personally I would rather pay up a bit more for like Foles or
I was gonna say that I don't like any of I think that definitely I'll end up in that 5 to 5.7 to 5.5 range just because I feel like those guys with their matchups are worth the extra few hundred probably this week.
And Deshaun Watson super cheap. He's 6.1K at home versus the Giants.
Oh, I totally missed that.
Yes. So that like 6.1K is a pretty average quarterback price. Honestly, it's close to below average, sort of teetering on it. The high fives is getting to below average, and Deshaun Watson is not a below average quarterback. He shouldn't be priced like that. So I think he's a routinely 7K quarterback just because of volume. I mean, just because of everything he does. It's sort of like Patrick Mahomes light. Patrick Mahomes really, if you look at his stats, he doesn't really have that many completions, but it's just the volume, the types of passes that he's throwing, the weapons. I think it's a similar type of thing. Obviously, Deshaun Watson doesn't have like Tyreek Hill or anyone, but he still has DeAndre Hopkins. He still has Will Fuller. Both those guys were over 100 yards with a touchdown today, albeit versus Tennessee. But this matchup's not that much worse.
Yeah, I just see the game script going. Just watching the game and watching how bad the offensive line is, and David and Clowney, and those guys are going to be like on Eli's ass all game. It's hard for me to imagine them moving the ball.
That's true.
It seems like a big Lamar Miller game. Could be high volume for him at least.
Could be. Odell's 8.2. I was going to say you could run it back with Odell. Man, they priced up Odell and Saquon 8.2 and 7.6.
7, yeah. I don't know. I feel like that's kind of a good price for Saquon.
Yeah, I mean, after today makes you think that they're really just content with losing games but letting Saquon rack up catches. Like
Eli struggled to even dump it off to him, man. It looked so bad. Like Saquon was making crazy catches, like acrobatic catches on dump offs, just because Eli could barely get him the ball.
Yeah, Honestly, if we're gonna jump to running backs,
Yeah, let's go ahead and move on. We got to start. I feel like we're a little kind of dragging on, so we got to move.
Yeah, that's a good. All right, let's just start off. Alvin Kamara versus Atlanta. Atlanta struggled with pass catching running backs. Christian McCaffrey exposed it this week. This is a game where the Saints could reasonably find themselves trailing. Similar game script to game one or week one for Alvin Kamara, where he can just go off. If he gets like 12 to 13 targets, he can just go absolutely crazy. So this could be one of those games.
Yeah, he's really priced up. And the thing with Alvin Kamara, everyone loves him, and I love his talent. You just watch the guy. He's amazing with the ball in his hands. But the problem is just how many touches he's actually going to get. He bumped it up a bit this game with 19 touches, up 2 from the week before. But you saw McCaffrey. He got 14 catches on 15 targets versus Atlanta this week. It's going to be sort of the same situation, and Kamara is a lot better than McCaffrey. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to fade it, but 9.5K is a lot to pay for a guy that's probably not going to get over 20 touches.
This is if he were to, it would be in this matchup though.
Yes, I agree.
This is a great spot for him. Projected game script wise, but there's a ton of other interesting spots. 2 more guys I just want to hit on real quick. David Johnson, 7.2K. There's not many games that this is a game that could. I mean, everyone likes the Bears as like a sleeper team, but this is a game that could reasonably stay close. Bears at Arizona. This is a game David Johnson could stay active in both the passing and the running game. He's not running as many routes, and they're not throwing it to him as much. But this is a game where David Johnson could get his, and he's priced so cheap at 7.2. And then Kareem Hunt.
What about on the other side of that game with Jordan Howard?
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm like, with Jordan Howard, you heard 6'5". It in the offseason that the coaches really want him they really want to give him a chance to actually catch the ball because we know how bad he was last year. But it came true in the first game, at least, catching all 5 of his targets. So a guy with that kind of bell cow like role in an improving young offense at 6.5K, where he's going to get catches, where they're likely going to be destroying Arizona. Arizona struggles to move the ball at all, going to be good field position all game. Going to have possession of the ball for 35, 40 minutes, you would imagine. I really like Jordan Howard here.
I like Johnson too. I mostly like the price on David Johnson. They really moved him down this week.
Yeah, 7.2. I mean, I feel like they would make a point to get him the ball more. They just extended him before week 1. He had 2 targets, only 1 catch. It's David Johnson, the best running back of 2016. Missed last year with just a wrist injury. Like, he's still fresh. He's still David Johnson. I know the team's not that great, but you need to be getting him the ball more in space any way you can, really.
Addy, you had another play. Sorry, I cut you off, and then we went on a little tangent there. But
no, it's all good. I love Kareem Hunt at 6K. The knock on Kareem Hunt this year has been his lack of passing game usage. I don't think, and this is Monday, or we're recording this on Sunday, so a week before the slate. I'm sure some news will come out, and then I'll have to update my stance on this. But as of right now, I don't feel too strongly about that. I don't think it's too big of a deal. I think Pat Mahomes obviously isn't the check down guy that Alex Smith is. He's more comfortable taking shots and kind of just letting it all, letting it loose. But and Kareem Hunt doesn't really fit that. But I still think he could get his in this matchup for 6K just as a rusher alone. I think he could get his in this matchup. I think the price on Jay Ajayi is pretty cheap at 5.7K. If there was talks about him getting a bigger workload today, and I was actually pretty interested in him today as we got closer to lock. He ended up getting injured, which is why his touch count was low. He came back, but he left for a while with a back injury. Corey Clement scored and kind of got into a rhythm, so they kind of rode with him. But if Jay Ajayi is back to being the lead dog, I like that spot as well. I could keep going. Should I keep going?
I was going to say that whole 6K to 5.6K range is interesting. Kenyon Drake's a little interesting too. But Gio Bernard with Joe Mixon's out, it's pretty interesting too against Carolina. It should be trailing. He's heavily involved in the pass game. So you guys talk about it.
You think he'll be trailing?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. They should be ahead. I just mean he'll be on the field a lot either way.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's definitely a guy that I look towards getting. I don't think he's really the best back, but Someone who's going to get 6-7 targets, you would imagine, probably 5 or 6 at the floor, 3 or 4 catches.
I do think I prefer Hunt. I do think I prefer Hunt for 100. If you can get it for 100 more.
Hunt just doesn't receive. That's the knock on him, and that's why I don't really like him all that much. But he did score today, didn't he?
He did score today.
Yep, a 5-yard catch.
It's interesting that they're heavy dogs too, even though they're at home. So Vegas
that line's out. You have that line.
Yeah, where you
on that where he that I saw the list that Ryan tweeted. Or Ryan quote tweeted and they were like 5-point dogs. Yeah.
Who?
No.
What, is it the other way around?
Yeah, it's got to be.
We can wait for it to go out. Just disregard it. Just disregard it. But
yeah. It's the Chiefs at home. There's no way.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like, "There's no way." Yeah. That's I felt
they're probably 5-point favorites. I think Kareem Hunt is going to be close to a lock as we get closer to the week. I think people are going to not really worry about it and just look at it kind of looks like a James Conner situation. I know he's not getting all the passing reps like Conner got in week 1, but when you look at it, it's just like that cheap running back in such a high volume game. You kind of have to get that exposure. But honestly, like Chris Thompson's pretty interesting as well, assuming that Washington is going to be trailing versus Green Bay. If you think Green Bay gets out to a lead, Chris Thompson, I mean, he looks amazing. In week 1, he looked amazing. I heard him talking about on a lot of podcasts how good Chris Thompson looked in week 1. In week 2, he backed it up. He caught 13 balls, 14 targets, caught 13 of them for 92 yards. In week 1, he went 6 of 7 receptions to target, 63 yards and a touchdown, 5 carries, 65 yards. He's a beast. Chris Thompson's a very talented football player. And anytime Washington's trailing, you're gonna wish you had Chris Thompson in your lineup. So check that game script. However that line comes out.
Yeah.
And I think I like his price. I like his price too. It's a fair price.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think many people are gonna go there too.
Yeah, it'll keep people off of him, but it's definitely if that spot opens up more throughout the week, like I could see that definitely being a spot.
I think it'll be really interesting to see what they do with their running backs in a close competitive game where they're like able to move the ball decently. Because today that didn't happen. Like their offense was pretty putrid throughout, and I'm curious. Like, I feel like they should have a little bit more success against Green Bay's defense. I don't know. I guess they're playing Indy today. Like they should have been able to move the ball against Indy as well. But just because in that first game when they were up, Adrian Peterson, it was just literally just Adrian Peterson. So.
Yeah, I just
to see what they do with a little bit of a closer game.
Peterson in on first and second down, and then Chris Thompson either 2 back sets or even line him up wide or as a wide receiver because they do that all the time.
Let's make that. Is that okay? Is anyone really cheap? You guys want to mention that stands out? Just I don't want to stick on. We've been sticking on.
I like getting a 3-down bell cow Lamar Miller at $5K, but I think that's as cheap as I'm going.
That's an interesting call. Yeah, I like that. 5K is pretty nice.
I mean, it's just 5K. It's a 3-down guy. He gets the goal line work as well for the most part. Alfred Blue kind of siphons him once in a while, but for the most part, he gets the goal line work. 3-down guy. Nothing special, but and the Giants have Snacks Harrison up the middle, who's just a nightmare. He's a nightmare. Like Zeke, like he was holding Zeke to all types of one-arm tackles in this Sunday night game. He's a freak, Snacks Harrison. But yeah, anyways, I definitely still like the price on Lamar Miller at 5K.
Yeah, I agree with that. And one cheap guy I kind of was looking at is Philip Lindsay. I mean, Royce Freeman, everyone thought coming into the year when he was announced to start that he was going to be a bell cow. And he started the week 1 with 15 carries. Next week went down to 8 carries after Philip Lindsay had that great game. And so the last 2 weeks, Lindsay's had 15 carries and then 14 carries, really outperforming. It seems to be running away with the job over Royce Freeman, and it's crazy because this guy's undrafted.
Royce is getting goal line work, I think, though, which is pretty much. I feel like that puts me off of him at that price, probably.
Yeah,
I can feel you with that.
It's a tough spot for Philip Lindsay on the road at Baltimore, but there's going to be opportunities to use Philip Lindsay this year for sure. He has a role in this offense, and he's legit talented. He's a legit talented runner. If anyone who watched this Broncos game saw that this guy has legit skill.
He looked really good. Royce looks amazing too. I think Royce has looked really good as well.
They both look good. Yeah, it's a good combination. It's a great little tank.
If Case Keenum can just be competent this year, even just competent, if he can just be competent, the Broncos are going to be really, really competitive.
The Broncos are going to be good, man. I think I overestimated. I think our secondary is a little worse than like I thought it was going to be. Having some trouble. Like I'm so used to our secondary just being shut down with Talib and Chris Harris Jr. But now I think with just Chris Harris Jr., we're kind of not as good as I wanted. I think the pressure is going to help make up for it, though, the pressure we generate with Miller and Chubb. But the Broncos look good, man. I definitely think they're – I mean, I said that they're probably like my favorite to win the AFC West despite being listed as per Vegas as the least likely team to win the AFC West, which is just crazy.
Let's get through these receivers real quick.
Let's do it.
Michael Thomas at the top. I was talking earlier about Taylor about Michael Thomas. And just, I guess what's going to happen with Thomas is like I feel like if you have Kamara, no one's going to really be on Thomas. Thomas probably going to be a tournament play, but a real good one. I mean, he's all over the place, and he's very, very near the elite talent receiver-wise in the NFL, and he's catching the ball 10-plus times a game right now.
Yeah, it just seems like he has a really good rapport with Drew Brees. I mean, week 1, he had 17 targets, had 16 catches off of that. Week 2, he had 13 targets, 12 catches off of that. I think not many people are going to be on because everyone's going to be on Kamara. And you saw who won the tournaments week 1. It was the guys who played Breeze with Kamara and Michael Thomas. So definitely a place to look for an onslaught against Atlanta. I do think Atlanta has some tough corners, kind of a tough matchup. But Michael Thomas at this point is kind of matchup proof. He's really up there with the elite wide receivers like Christian alluded to earlier. Really like Michael Thomas for sure. 8.9K, I would pay that all day.
Game stack. Because Tevin Coleman, actually, we didn't talk about Tevin Coleman, but he's in play.
Definitely in play.
Yeah.
We skipped over him, but
is Devontae Freeman? Oh yeah, I forgot.
He's out for like
out 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Tevin Coleman's up. He's what's his price?
He's up to 6'4".
He's where he should be.
Yeah, I agree.
6'4".
That's what I'm saying. That's why he's definitely
going to end up pushing must-play territory as we get closer to live.
Yeah, definitely.
He's
so talented. I love him. I love him.
Yeah, and that spot is just looks like fantasy goodness. That spot, no matter what happens, you're happy to own that player. You know.
And he had 20 touches today with Freeman out. And we saw all of the games that he started with Freeman out. He's averaged 19 touches a game. If you're getting 19-plus touches in a likely shootout at 6.4K, as a guy who gets catches in a PPR site like DK, yeah, I like that spot for sure.
Keep scrolling down the wide receivers here. Anyone? I guess Addy asked you. I mean, I kind of made Taylor talk about Michael Thomas because I said his name. So if you guys, but I'll go to Addy. I guess any guys at the top, I would say above the 7.5K maybe, or maybe Keenan Allen down there.
I think the main thing that's going to stop people for paying 8.9K for Michael Thomas is the fact that you can pay 7.9K for Julio.
I know. Isn't that wild? That was the very first thing that stood out to me. The fact that they paid 1,000 less. And
that Michael Thomas is probably going to come in far lower owned than he should be, but 8.9K is a lot for Michael Thomas. If this usage keeps up where he's routinely seeing around 15 targets a game, the fact that Michael Thomas is one of the most efficient wide receivers, the usage has always been something that's kind of eluded him, like this monster usage. But this is kind of what he's getting now, and his efficiency. This guy does not drop passes. Like, you just won't see him drop passes.
Not at all.
So if he's getting 15 targets, like you saw these past 2 games, he's gotten 17 and 13 targets, and he's gotten 16 and 12 catches. So, like, that's efficient. That's an efficient catch rate. And so I think if you're projecting him for monster workloads, then, like, he's probably going to be really efficient with those targets. I will say this, though. The strength of this Atlanta team is their 2 outside cornerbacks, Desmond Trufant and I'm forgetting the other guy's name on the other side, but that's the strength of their defense. So it is one of the tougher matchups for him. So I probably won't play him this week. I'll go with Kamara and probably run it back with Julio if I want a wide receiver in that game, because 7.9K for a guy who's just dominating the target share on his team is just it's like otherworldly how many targets this guy's getting. So, like, I think week 1 he put up 19 targets. Week 2 he put up 9. He was kind of schemed out of the game in week 2. I think he's going to end up closer to 19 most weeks. I genuinely feel that way. So,
Yeah, especially this week.
yeah, so I think 7.9K is way too cheap.
Yeah, and the other corner you were thinking of was Robert Alford. I also forgot about that.
Yeah, and
Alford and Trufant.
Yeah, and Marshawn Lattimore this year, for the record, the breakout Saints rookie last year, he hasn't looked that good this year. He's been all right. He got whipped a few times in this Browns game, and if he's got any time, there's like a cornerback who's just good enough to be like put one-on-one with Julio, but not good enough that I'm like afraid of that. Anyone who's one-on-one with Julio, I'm siding with Julio every single time, you know. And I think they may leave it one-on-one with Marshawn Lattimore and Julio, and that's Julio all day, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's even like Odell and Julio are guys like they could be facing Jalen Ramsey, and I really wouldn't care. We saw week 1, Odell picked him apart when Eli had time in the pocket, and he had like 11 catches on him for like 100 and something yards. I can't remember the exact amount. Yeah. But just to throw some shade on the Saints offense, like Thomas and Kamar getting all those catches. The game scripts have been literally perfect.
I was just going to talk about this. I think it's going to be that way again, though, right?
Yeah, but I was going to say this game is shaping up, or it at least looks like it should be that. Be the same case this week. Should be a higher scoring game as long as Atlanta can keep up, like Cleveland and Tampa Bay.
Looks like this mid range isn't really too interesting once you get below Jones. But do you guys have any differing opinions?
Nelson Aguilar, play him, please.
Oh yeah. I would say he stands out to me.
I mean, yeah, he's probably going to end the year with like 150 plus targets. Guy in the first 2 games has 10 and 12 targets, 8 catches. Each of them scored last time. They're just actively trying to get him the ball. Very good in the open field. And like I said on the live stream earlier, against Atlanta, they had one of the fastest defensive players in the group of defensive players in the league. So when they're giving him those short A-dot catches and targets, it's easy for them to catch them. But against an average defense or well below average defense like Indianapolis, probably going to turn loose for a couple touchdowns. Well, I mean, that's like the most optimal thing, but it could get loose for a lot of big plays. I would expect another around 100-yard game, 7, 8, 9 catches at 6.1K. Seems like a no-brainer to me.
Well, I'm just kind of digging around here. One guy I really like, he's sitting at 3.7K, just sort of like a punt, is Calvin Ridley. There's been a lot of talk before this game versus Carolina today that they were trying to get Calvin Ridley more involved with Devontae Freeman being out, and we saw it. And that's one of the few times we've actually seen like a direct coach speak result in actual like something happening about it. I mean, he got 5 targets, 4 receptions, 64 yards, and a touchdown, and he looked good too. This is the main takeaway. He really didn't look like it was too much for him. He fit in on an NFL field, and I think Calvin Ridley is going to be a really good receiver in this league. So this game is just going to shoot out. There's going to be a ton of points to go around, and I think Calvin Ridley is probably going to get a fair share of that. And getting exposure to that game at 3.7K is like a super super good move.
Yeah, and so this is our first look, so we don't really know where everyone else is going, but Marquise Goodwin was sidelined this week with a deep thigh bruise, just looking to get healthy for week 3 against the Chiefs. If he's healthy and he's starting, this might be like one of the chalkiest players on the slate at 5.5K. We talked about it week 1 before their first game, how this guy is likely going to be 7K plus like in a couple weeks, really. In 3, 4, 5 weeks, I could definitely see his price being up in the 7Ks just because how good Garoppolo is, how much better the San Francisco offense is, how good the rapport is between Garoppolo and Goodwin, and how porous this KC secondary is. They just get thrashed seemingly every week. It's a college-esque secondary. I don't know. 5.5K seems like a must-play in my eyes. And we already talked about how we thought this game would be a shootout.
Yeah, 5.5K is super cheap. If Larry Fitzgerald is healthy, he did sustain a minor hamstring injury, but the word is that it's just super minor. 5.4K is super cheap for just a really good wide receiver. It's just like a staple. Like Larry Fitzgerald at 5.4K should be the staple of cash games everywhere because this guy's a 7K receiver. He's historically better in the beginning of seasons as opposed to the end, so it's the best time to play him is early. So if he's healthy, I like that play, even in a pretty tough matchup. That's more of a price play for 5.4. But yeah, like you said, man, like Christian, the mid range is pretty gross around here. There's not too much.
I like both of your calls a lot for the record. I think both those are really good plays. I thought the same thing about Ridley today too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of you kind of got to go price play digging if that makes sense in this range, if you're not paying up at wide receiver. But I like the idea of getting some of these higher price guys like Julio in here. Tyreek is really priced up. And we're kind of seeing this thing with Tyreek where he's one of those guys who can do so much with a target, but like week 1, he only got 8 targets. Week 2, he got 6 targets. Both those games were pretty good game script for him. And he didn't really do – I mean, he didn't get the volume. Obviously, he got the results because it's Tyreek Hill. But this Kansas City offense will go some weeks just nuclear. But some weeks it'll probably stall because they're really dependent on a lot of these big plays.
For me, Tyreek is almost never a cash play. Almost
yeah, and he's sitting at 8.5K. But if he has low ownership, this is an awesome Tyreek spot.
Really good spot.
None of these big San Francisco corners are going to be able to keep up with him. He's going to be a nightmare,
Definitely.
mismatch.
It's just so crazy. I was going to talk about it. We're going to do a pod for week 2, but we ended up not doing it. But I was going to talked about it a bit on the live stream today. But week 1, Tyreek had 21. He only ran 21 routes.
Yeah.
Put up 45 DK points. That is just insane.
Yeah. I mean, that's just what happens when you deal with a world-class sprinter, who's like playing wide receiver. This guy gets loose, it's over, But in DFS a lot, and this kind of goes back to what we were talking about when we started talking about just our process in DFS. Just taking these guys who get ridiculous volume is typically the best move regardless of sport. NBA, you want the guys who get all the minutes. It just kind of works like that. And Tyreek's not getting all the targets. He's getting good targets and high – low probability like catch-wise, but high point probability if it does work. So so those are good targets, but those are also super risky, he could put up a dud and at 8.5K, you just can't eat a dud at 8.5K.
We mentioned how the Jags targets went up this week, and I was watching that game. I remember Moncrief got that touchdown. He was actually around the ball quite a bit, so I decided to check him out. He's at 3.8K. Got 8 targets this week. I know he's got that knee injury, but if he can, I would be interested to see his snap count and see how much he played this week. Obviously, Keelan Cole, obviously it was not 8 targets, but Moncrief led the way at 9 this week against the Patriots. And I think if they continue to air it out, Moncrief is a very talented player, and especially if he's going to be consistently getting snaps, he could be somewhat interesting to me, especially if we think the Jaguars again continue to throw the ball. So they don't look like they want to run the ball. They didn't look like it today at all.
I mean, Moncrief's a guy who they talked about bringing him on as far as like helping him out in the red zone. So he scored a touchdown today. It's always nice to get the 3.8 guy who's their red zone looks guy. And he led him in air yards in week 1 versus the Giants. So I'm assuming he led him in air yards week 2 as well, honestly, with 9 targets, but I haven't seen that yet. So yeah, I like that call a lot.
Ted Ginn, good tournament play. Gonna throw that one out there.
Yeah, there's
anyone from this game. Anyone from this game.
Yeah. It's kind of usually like that when you're playing New Orleans and Atlanta. It just kind of happens.
If this game goes I'm still waiting to see this Vegas line. I'm assuming it's going to be extremely high because both these offenses are extremely talented. Both these defenses are decent, though. I'll say that. They're not bad defenses.
Agreed.
This Atlanta defense is not a bad defense.
I definitely side with targeting the KC game over that. I don't know if that's just me, but
the KC game is 2 confirmed bad defenses and good pace. There's gonna be great pace in that.
That's actually the highest over under. I opened at 50. Looks like it's a 55.
Atlanta.
Holy shit.
No, Atlanta's at 53 and Chiefs are at 55.
53 is still pretty high. I mean, it's good. It's good defenses, and I'll side with what Vegas says on this because if they think it's going to be an offensive game, I could definitely see that being the route this game takes with the weapons that are on this offense and the mismatches. Both these offenses kind of match up well against each other, and so I'm excited to kind of see how that dynamic works out. So this game could definitely shoot out.
That definitely makes a lot of sense, just because the Falcons. Best part of their defense is their corners, and their weakness is giving up passes or catches to the running backs, and that's where the Saints strive with Alvin Kamara, and then the Saints' strong suit is Marshawn Lattimore, and he stands really no chance against Julio Jones, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I know we've got the Bears tomorrow Monday night, but and so you guys are excited to see them, but not exactly the best primetime games this week. But next week, Patriots Detroit 51.5 total on Sunday night. Great game. That'll be a really good game, I think. In Detroit.
Okay, that's better.
Very interested. New England opened up at 6.5-point favorites, so being in Detroit makes it a little more competitive. And then Pittsburgh at Tampa Bay. Brian Fitzpatrick on Monday night.
Where's that game?
I saw that Venn diagram earlier. I put it in the Slack. That was like MVP talk through 2 weeks. It was like it said like Patrick and then Fitzpatrick. It was like one side.
Patrick
hold on.
Mahomes. Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes and Fitzpatrick. Yeah.
I've seen
it. But yeah, I thought that'd pretty much wrap it. We didn't go through tight ends. Is that okay? It's like been an hour.
Let's look real quick.
Right,
I'm gonna scroll through.
One more play I wanted to say was for wide receiver Demaryius Thomas. 10 and 11 targets his first 2 games, and his price keeps dropping to 5.2.
That's a good call. I missed that.
And it's against Baltimore, which is normally a tough defense, but the splits are pretty drastic without Jimmy Smith, who's still serving his suspension. So 5.2K is entirely too cheap. Good cash play.
5.2, man. Demaryius Thomas looked real bad today, I thought, but that said, that's way too cheap for Demaryius Thomas still. So, how did you miss that, Addy?
What? Oh, I'm not. Demaryius. I don't know. Demaryius kind of like as a Broncos fan, he's kind of the guy I'm kind of on the fence about. I just don't think he's got it anymore, man. This dude's dropping.
I don't either.
He didn't look very intense at all when he got that screen on the goal.
It's like as long as Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas are like within 1,000 of each other, I'll always play Emmanuel. I'll just play the good player, you know? Like Demaryius is going to have those weeks where he goes off because he's still a talented receiver. He's still big and strong, but there's something off with him right now. I don't know, man.
He's just old. Isn't he turning 30 this year?
He's getting old. He's hitting that like age for wide receivers where they kind of start declining, and he's been in it since Peyton left.
He is 1,200 less than Sanders this week, though.
1,200 is good. I'd rather just not have any exposure to that Denver passing attack, though, going East Coast to Baltimore. If I do get exposure, though, it'd probably be through leading up to tight end Jake Butt, who is I think they do want to use Jake Butt more. I was reading some reports about using him more as a pass catcher, and he did get 6 targets today versus Oakland, converted 4 of them for 48 yards. He's 2.7K. I think that's like a fine punt at tight end. Scrolling up, Jack Doyle is 3.5K. That's a misprice. Trey Burton's 3.9K. That's super, super cheap. Like if Trey Burton goes off Monday night, this post be recorded Sunday, and he goes off Monday night, then he's going to end up being the chalk at 3.9K because and he should probably be the chalk regardless. Kittle is 4.5K. That's a great spot for him. Even though Kittle didn't put up the results today, the opportunity was still there. He had a few chances, and his backup is the one who scored the touchdown.
Yeah, exactly. I think Selleck had a few other targets too. So
yeah, and that's kind of not. It's not ideal that Selleck got those targets and was in those situations, but I think Kittle kind of had a few drops that might have cost him a few routes, which Selleck got, and they just so happened to be.
I thought when Selleck got both of his targets, I remember I thought that both times Kittle was on the field with him.
Yep, he was.
Yeah, so that's fine. I mean,
just 2 tight ends. He just so happened to go to his side. So.
That's actually true. Yeah,
I think Jack Doyle. I think you just keep pounding Jack Doyle. He's only 3.5K. The story would be way different if the targets stayed the same, the catches stayed the same, except Doyle got the touchdowns over Ebron. Everybody would be gushing over Doyle. Touchdowns are pretty erratic and hard to predict. Doyle's is consistently more involved in the offense. You just like to see him get more touchdowns. But in a game in Philadelphia, you would imagine that they're going to be behind. And when they were behind against Cincinnati, you saw the final couple drives where they were just throwing it to Doyle just pretty much every time. He got 3 or 4 catches on the final 2 drives. Really saved his fantasy day. This week.
We've talked about this game a ton already, but Austin Hooper is interesting. 2.9K for me a little bit. I just think they're going to be around the end zone a lot, But I mean, he's not. Doesn't seem like a great
all
player.
These, I'll say, I think this is a good way to end talking about this game. Is just like I think a lot of this, like Atlanta's game plan without Devontae Freeman, is sort of just spreading it around, getting everyone involved. Calvin Ridley, Austin Hooper, Tevin Coleman gets his, of course. They're kind of just getting everyone their own kind of like everyone gets a piece of the pie. So I think all these complementary pieces, especially in this game, have a place to be played because they're like. There's a complimentary piece that's just itching to go off in this game, and if you get it right, that'd be a huge edge in GPPs and in cash games too, because a lot of these cheap guys are viable in cash.
Yeah, I really like that call because when Freeman's in there, it's really you just want to play Freeman and you want to play Julio. That's all. But now that Freeman's out, it really opens up for other guys like Ridley, like Hooper, like Coleman. So. And they're likely going to be behind, I would imagine, against the Saints, or at least be in a shootout. So,
Saints are just like slow. They just like don't decide to go after games. It seems like
they start slow, I feel, but then when they need to score, they just do it. I guess
happens every week.
It happened both weeks. But Austin Hooper at 2.9K, I don't know. The guy's probably gonna get 5 or 6 targets. Heavily involved in the red zone, especially with Devontae Freeman out. I mean, he's really the guy they look to the most in the red zone. So Hooper could steal that job.
Yeah, it's actually a really good point. That red zone usage is going to skyrocket for Austin Hooper without Devontae Freeman.
And I think that's where he scored today. It was like
I like that. I like that a lot.
I really thought that wasn't that good of a call, so I'm glad you guys like it. Honestly, I was really.
I do like that.
Wasn't sure.
No, I think the whole point with the touchdowns, I think Devontae Freeman's such a big part of what they do in the red zone that it helps Austin Hooper a lot, helps Julio a lot. It helps anyone who's kind of like losing touchdowns to Devontae Freeman.
I think this is the first week that could be tough in terms of maybe, I don't know, we were looking through the wide receivers and the mid-range wide receivers, not in terms of just in terms of the build, but it might not have been the same. Top high-end wide receiver, high-end running back, mid-range running back, the flex, cheap tight end, cheap wide receiver, mid-range wide receiver.
I mean, you couldn't even afford Addy made it fit. He had Gurley and Antonio Brown, but I think most people just had Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I really just did that because I really got up on the whole 2 tight end thing I talked about with Kittle and Njoku. I really started liking that. And then Njoku was fine, honestly, too.
Yeah, see, he had to play 2 sub 4K players.
And I also had Galladay and
Enunwa.
True. But I loved both of those guys.
I loved both those players.
That's why it was easy to do because I loved them all. And then I could even pay up for C-Mac, too. And Garoppolo. I should have just gotten up to Mahomes, man. That was a mistake I made. I had the money. I had a team that I was teetering around. I think I punted defense instead of the Texans. But then when that Blaine Gabbert news came out, I just had to go Texans. And that just didn't work out. And that's another part of the process that I really started thinking about when I was watching that game on Gamecast because I didn't have it up. But just watching it, it felt like maybe when a team does something like that and goes to Blaine Gabbert, maybe that takes away the upside of a defense, because they're just going to be so safe with their play calls, which is like a team like the Titans. I felt like there was no opportunity for the Texans to get sacks or anything like that, I don't know. I think it's obviously a good –
with a guy that has NFL experience maybe, a guy that can manage an offense, a guy who's not going to be super rattled.
Yeah.
And also a guy who I don't know how the Titans' offensive line is, but behind an offensive line.
Yeah, but honestly, don't even listen to me because like if Blaine Gabbert got out here and threw 3 picks, then one of them
It's an
got
interesting
returned, like, I would, you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be saying any of this.
Well,
so
I was
it's like,
thinking about when there's a backup tight end looking at like running backs or backup quarterback playing tight ends and playing running backs, so they'll try to just
for sure.
slice
There's
it.
definitely a move there. That's definitely a move.
Anyway, all right. I don't even know how long this has been because I don't know exactly when we started, but I know I sent the link to the Zoom an hour and a half ago, so it might be pretty long.
Probably like an hour or something. I mean, we were in
Yeah, I don't think it was that bad. Anyway, that's it. So we'll go through a full build on Friday, so wait for the Friday podcast. Taylor should have videos up on YouTube hopefully this week, talking about running back, wide receivers, tight ends, to look for and quarterbacks. I don't know why I skipped that. So those should be up this week.
Subscribe to us on YouTube.
Subscribe to us on YouTube. We'll have cheat sheets on the website later this week. All that comes with the subscription, so locksdfs.com. We play showdowns. We play every Sunday slate. We've got everything there, and we're doing pretty well so far at the NFL. So,
Yep.
Yeah, NFL's been good. NBA is going to be awesome. All these sports are starting, so y'all definitely get on board because NHL is getting rolling. NBA is getting rolling. Preseason NHL is already up in the lobby. So
NBA preseason's not far.
yeah, it's coming. It's the
That'll be
grind
cool.
mode's coming. The grind mode's coming. I just think about how I started as a DFS provider. It was around like it was later in the NFL season, but it was sort of in this mode, like NBA, NHL, NFL. It feels like the old times. It feels good.
Time, yeah.
The grind time. It feels really good. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to be here doing this with Locks and have all of these people riding with us, man. For all these sports, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, for sure. And now we have week passes. We have more week passes now, month passes for you guys if you guys want to try us out before like fully jumping in and getting a season pass.
Also, we won a college football tournament this weekend on FanDuel.
Oh
True.
yeah.
So
late, yeah, I took down all the tournaments over there.
I mean, college football
top
just
score that I saw. Yeah,
college football is just a lock. If it's
just post
legal in your state,
yeah.
if it's legal in your state, locksdfs.com/shop.
Just post $100 of like literally if you have enough money in your bank account, put $100 and just play in head-to-heads every slate. And
Every college football
you're gonna
slate.
make a lot of money by the end of the year. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and I live with Christian, so I can I can tell you guys how much work he puts in. He writes so many notes, and he actually provides those notes for you guys if you want to make your own lineups. But he just like explains all his picks. How many words do you think those are?
Oh, dude, I have no idea. They were pretty long though. I write a breakdown of every team. Every valued play, I write their name. So
And there's that's we've talked about it many times before. But when a sport doesn't have very much information out, and you have to go out and find it, that's where there's going to be edge, and that's where we take advantage. And that's why Christian's so good at soccer and college football, and that's why Addie's so good at NHL. We put in the work, and it definitely comes into fruition, and that's why we make money doing this.
yeah, I remember when Addy was doing Fetty, and he would always find this line movement for teams. I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah,
He was just ahead of the game. Like it wasn't on any sites or anything. It was just like on Twitter. So, yeah.
yeah, man, I love it. I love line movement's my thing, honestly. Like that's like I'll die on that hill. I ride with Vegas so hard. I just ride with people who are smarter than me. You know, shit that happens that's smarter.
No,
than
I meant like the teams lines, like the teams lines, like someone will be playing on the first line.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like you're talking hockey? Yeah.
Yeah, hockey.
Oh, yeah. Just following beat riders and getting all these random third line guys jumping up to the first line. And
exactly. Because those are the best plays. Every night, those are the best plays. And it happens quite a bit. So, anyway, we've been on this podcast forever. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I feel like it was a good podcast.
For sure.
Slate well. And, again, we've got everything coming. I mean, like I'm almost positive that we'll find some edge for NBA preseason. And that's, like I said, less than 2 weeks away. So, it's coming.
Yeah, so, like, if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and like and maybe, like, leave us some questions. I'll be sure to answer any questions you guys have in the comments. And then please download on iTunes. It really helps us out. We're trying to put out more free content for you guys. So, yeah, we would appreciate that a lot if you guys could do that.
Yeah, we're not below begging, all right? So,
we're not below begging.
We're not below.
I'll kindly ask once, and that's all.
Yeah. We're not below begging just because interaction is what makes this shit go, you know?
Yep.
Like this whole thing moves on like interaction. It's like back and forth.
One thing we're at the very end of the podcast, but the interaction thing, Slack gets pretty lit on Sundays. It was pretty good on Saturday too for college football. It does sometimes get good for soccer. So I would say if you are not in our Slack yet, and I know that all of our NFL members are not. If you're an NFL member and you're listening to this, college football member, you're listening to this, soccer member, you're listening to this, just send us a DM. Our DMs are open on Twitter, and I'll get you in.
Yeah, it gets popping. It's really fun in there.
And if you sent us a DM before about it and I haven't got to you, I'm sorry. Just send us another one.
Yep.
I'm sorry. Okay. For locksdfs.com, thanks for listening. And we'll see you guys for the full week breakdown and lineup builds and all of that good stuff on Friday. Yeah, we don't know exactly when we record that podcast, but let's just call it Friday night.
We'll record it Thursday night, get it out Friday for y'all.
All right, we'll see you guys on Friday.
Yes,
See y'all then.
See you guys.
Peace.